Saint Francis of Assisi is one of the most beloved and influential saints in the history of the Catholic Church. He was born in Assisi, Italy, in 1181 to a wealthy cloth merchant. Known for his love of nature, profound humility, and dedication to living the gospel, Saint Francis revolutionized religious life and inspired generations through his simple yet profound commitment to Christ. Youth and conversion. As a young man, Francis lived a carefree life. He pursued worldly pleasures and military glory, even participating in a campaign against Perugia. During this period, Francis was captured and imprisoned for a year, an experience that sowed the seeds of reflection and led to a significant change in his perspective. Upon his release, Francis suffered a severe illness, which further intensified his inner struggle between the worldly and the divine. At 25, during a pivotal moment of prayer in the Church of San Damiano, Francis had a mystical experience. As he knelt before the crucifix, he heard Jesus say, "Francis, go and repair my church, which you see is falling into ruins." Taking this command literally, Francis began to rebuild the small chapel using his family's resources. However, when his father grew angry and demanded his money and property back, Francis renounced all worldly possessions. In front of the Bishop of Assisi, Francis took off his fine clothes and proclaimed, "I have called you Father on earth, but now I say, Our Father, who art in heaven." This marked the beginning of his radical embrace of poverty, life of penance and founding of the order. Francis began living a life of extreme poverty, penance, and simplicity, dedicating himself to prayer and serving the poor. His genuine love for the marginalized and profound humility soon attracted followers. These men became the first members of what would be known as the Order of Friars Minor Franciscans. Franciscan order was officially founded, with a rule centered on evangelical poverty, humility, and love. The spirit of poverty and humility. Saint Francis encouraged his followers to lead a life of poverty and humility, focusing on their complete reliance on God and the values of humility and love. Unlike traditional religious orders, the Franciscans did not live in monasteries but instead resided among the general population. Despite being ordained as a deacon, Francis did not aspire to become a priest and instead remained committed to serving others with humility. Love for animals. Saint Francis of Assisi is known for his love for animals and his advocacy for their well-being. He believed that animals were good and pure, and often talked to them as if they were humans. He is known for preaching to the birds and other animals, and for taming a dangerous wolf that was terrorizing a town. Saint Francis also discouraged cruelty to animals and encouraged people to treat them with kindness and compassion. He is also the patron saint of animals. The first Christmas crib and love for creation. In 1223, Saint Francis began the beautiful tradition of the nativity scene, Christmas crib, at Greccio, Italy. He wanted people to experience the humble beginnings of Jesus in a vivid way. He set up a manger, brought in animals, and gathered the townspeople for a mass. This moving representation brought the Christmas story to life and has since become a cherished tradition worldwide. Francis's love for all of God's creation was profound. He believed that nature itself was a mirror of God's goodness. His Canticle of Brother Sun and Sister Moon, one of the earliest works of literature in the Italian language, reflects his deep appreciation for the natural world. In this canticle, Francis speaks of the elements, sun, moon, wind, water, fire, and earth, as his brothers and sisters, expressing a theology of creation that emphasizes the unity of all creatures under God. Receiving the stigmata. In 1224, while on retreat at Mount La Verna, Francis received the stigmata, the wounds of Christ's crucifixion, on his hands, feet, and side. This mystical experience, making him the first recorded person in Christian history to bear the stigmata, was both a sign of his intimate union with Christ and a source of physical suffering that he bore until his death. Final years and legacy. Saint Francis spent his final years in increasing pain and blindness but remained joyful, often referring to death as Sister Death. On October 3, 1226, at the age of 44, Francis passed away in the Portiuncula, a small chapel he had restored and held dear. His final words to his friars were, "I have done my part, may Christ teach you to do yours." Francis was canonized just 2 years later, in 1228, by Pope Gregory IX, who also laid the cornerstone for the Basilica of St. Francis in Assisi, where Francis is buried, the patron saint of ecology. On November 29, 1979, Pope John Paul II issued a papal bull declaring St. Francis of Assisi as the patron saint of ecology and those who promote environmental stewardship. In the bull, John Paul II wrote, "Among the holy and admirable men who have revered nature as a wonderful gift from God to humanity, St. Francis of Assisi deserves special consideration. Saint Francis' teachings on the interconnectedness of all beings and his love for nature have made him a popular figure among environmentalists. His message of care for creation has inspired many to work for environmental justice and sustainability. In 2015, Pope Francis wrote an encyclical on the environment called Laudato Si, which drew heavily on Saint Francis' teachings and emphasized the need for a holistic approach to care for our common home. Prayer for peace. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me bring love. Where there is offense, let me bring pardon. Where there is discord, let me bring union. Where there is error, let me bring truth. Where there is doubt, let me bring faith. Where there is despair, let me bring hope. Where there is darkness, let me bring your light. Where there is sadness, let me bring joy. O Lord, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that one receives. It is in self-forgetting that one finds. It is in forgiving that one is forgiven. It is in dying that one awakens to eternal life.